Morning all, how are we all doing? So I'm a bit late this morning. I've been doing other stuff, mainly getting that video for the stock index hedge EA up and strategy. So it's up on YouTube, will be rendered in 2 hours, YouTube said. So as soon as I come off the stream, I should be able to press the button to publish it. So I'll put it in Telegram, put it in socials, all that sort of stuff. Morning, Christian, Annie, Amy, Ian, Stevie, Ladder, Virginia, JC, Danny, Kennelly, how doing? Harold, Bradley, morning. Evening, your time. Spring has sprung in Melbourne. The sun is still shining. The days are getting longer and it's 26 degrees. Morning, Antoine, Monkey Man, John, how we doing? Gregors, Ismet, Wakim, Martin, Laseron, Marco, Potgaiter, everybody's here. That's all good. Right. So just quick, I posted this in Telegram this morning, but I've closed out some pound US dollar. So I had to go back a long way to get the screenshot in. Look, this is the first time I've had a trade ever where I'm zoomed out fully on the chart and my first position is almost going off the screen. It's just the longest trade I have ever been in. It's unbelievable. 17th of July I entered this position. Still in it. Still banking. But anyway. So yeah, pound US dollar, bank 0.95% this morning. I'll put this in Telegram. So I closed out the bottom two positions, which was that one and that one. So they've closed. Sorry, no, it's that one and that one. Start again. Let's clear that. See what the hell I'm talking about. Closed out that one and that one there. Which is basically about 3.8 roughly. And I used about 2,300 of that to do drawdown control. So netted 0.95, have brought the pound US dollar down to just 4 positions left now with 2.4 lots on. So I've reduced the lot size of the overall position by around about a third. So if we do get news today, which is positive for the US dollar and the US dollar comes down here, the rate of drawdown is dramatically reduced by a third. And I will get the opportunity to add this position back on again, bring the average further down. If the news comes out as negative for the US dollar today, we've got a good chance of getting an ADR hit today. And as you can see, my average is only 125% of ADR. So what I should be able to do, hopefully, is if we get negative news on the US and we do get a rally against the US, close this position completely and kiss goodbye to the pound US dollar forever. Well, no, until the next setup. But yeah, so some DD control basically ahead of the news just to make sure that if it goes against me, I can't bank that. Yeah, so want it in the bank. Price action this morning. We made a new high in Asia, but it is pulling back, which is why I've exited it. So we are starting a little bit of a pullback. So I was just worried about a pre-market sell-off. But we'll see. So that's what I've done this morning. There's no ADRs to look at. That's totally flat. There's only 3 RSIs. One of them is the pound US dollar. So we'll look at those in a second. So let's have a quick look at the DAX this morning. So DAX. Big, strong move up on the DAX yesterday. Lovely trade yesterday. So nice, easy profit again yesterday on the DAX. 2 days on the trot, the DAX. Let's see if we can make it a hat trick today, shall we, Mr. DAX? So lovely, quick break short on Monday. Nice, quick break long yesterday. So hopefully today we'll get another one. There's a little gap, tiny gap. They have pushed up into it. So I would class that as pretty much done. So very easy upside downside targets today. Yesterday's high and last week's high. I think that's last week's high. Sorry, no, that's a 3 week ago low. Last week's high is a little bit higher. So that's last week's high. And then we've got this high from the previous week. There we go, market's open. So upsides, we'll be looking for a bounce out of yesterday's high and then potentially up into that high and then up into that high. So easy upsides today. There's 3 opportunities for upside. ADR is obviously miles away. And to the downside, there's nothing to stop us. Yesterday's low and that gap is target to the downside, which is miles. So we've got this little gap down here to do. So the gap from the previous day that we didn't get filled because we went into rotation got filled yesterday, but that's left in place a little gap there. So as we know, gaps get filled. Yeah. So we'll see where we go, but there's absolutely miles to the upside and the downside, easy to get to targets today. So we'll see where we go, but nothing's moved at the moment. So the stock index hedge EA has taken the 20-minute range as the pre-market today. We'll see where we go. Morning, AZ. Morning, Andres. Morning, Daniel. Prince. Be interested to know the broker overnight weekend charges for that length of time. For the pound, US dollar trade. Wow, this is light today, isn't it? We'll have a look at the news in a minute. Obviously, we've got news today, but there we go. Short. God, that's a nice slip. Thanks for that. Not a lot of volume in the market today. Just got slipped there, but short on the DAX. So watching yesterday's low as a target in the gap fill, but obviously we got this little area of support here, potentially from yesterday, which might do something. But it doesn't look like it's going anywhere today, does it? It's just stuff. No volume at all. Look at it. Really slow today. They're all asleep. Germans are having a nap. So on those positions, yeah, those. So the oldest one I've got that I closed out yesterday was the 16th of August. Swap on that was $43. Swap on. So basically, as you can see, all these swaps here. So there's 192, 44, 99, 65, $43. Yeah. So if you look at the trades I've got open on the pound US dollar, the oldest one I've got remaining now is from the 19th of July. Swap on that is $35. But obviously this swap is related to the lot size. Yeah. So obviously I've done drawdown control, partial drawdown controls on that position. So that is the swap remaining on the position there. So $145 from this one from the 21st of September. That's pretty much a whole position. Yeah, that is a whole position. So $156 swap on that. Swaps are swaps. There's nothing you can do about swaps. They're just part of business. Just got to deal with them. I don't pay any attention to swaps in any shape or form. Just there's nothing you can do. It's just, you know, like driving a car. You have road tax. You have petrol. It's just cost of it. Cost of being a trader, basically. Bear with me a sec. Okay. Morning, outro. Blimey. It really doesn't want to go anywhere today, does it? Wow. Okay, let's look at the news while we're waiting for that to think about potentially doing something today. Morning, Keith. So overnight news, not an awful lot. Most of the overnight news is basically based around the conflict we've got going on in Israel at the moment. So there's a couple of bits that we need to be aware of with that. First of all, oil. So as you can see here, Russia's deputy PM Novak, Russia and Saudi Arabia are to discuss the oil market situation today. So that's obviously the price of oil dropping. Is that my internet connection, or is that just terminal freeze? Weird. Both my terminals froze then for some reason. So yeah, basically the oil situation at the moment, obviously oil is coming down. What's going on with the current situation in Israel, if that expands out, that will affect oil movement and production and pricing as well. So I've got oil buys on at the moment because when you get wars and things like this, it just tends to spike oil. So keep your eyes peeled on that for any news from OPEC that may interrupt oil pricing. We've had the German CPI figures came out today as expected, so no change there. This is the largest CPI contributor for Europe. So if you look at the euro pairs, those are the ones that you would tend to get the impact on. And as you can see, there's not a lot of impact on anything euro, the news. So no real impact there at all. The main red news we've had overnight, financial juice isn't loading for some reason. Just refresh that. Main news we've had overnight that's been red has been basically from anything to do with the conflict. So Hamas armed wing claims rockets firing from Lebanon. Hezbollah targeting Israeli tanks. So it's all just going to be news related to that at the moment. But there's no other financial news overnight. Today, we've got the US dollar PPIs. So that's the producer price index coming out at 1:30 today. That's an hour before the market open. This is all forecast to drop month on month, which will be negative currency. So if we do get the drop, it should be negative. If it comes out lower than 0.3, we should be dropping the US fairly hard. We've also got FOMC meeting minutes. So there's no press conference. There's no rate announcement. It's just the meeting minutes from the FOMC, which is them discussing basically what they're going to do with monetary policy moving forward. So it's a guide as to whether or not they're interested in increasing or decreasing interest rates moving forward. So that's today's news. Oh, my PC just took off. Yeah, so that's today's news. So the main news we've got obviously today is the PPI at 1:30. So that is potentially going to move the US dollar quite heavily. Tomorrow we've got CPI. So this is the big one, the inflation figure. And again, inflation is forecast to drop. That will be negative US. So if we do get forecast or lower than forecast on everything that they've said is happening, we will get a nice drop in the US dollar this week. We've got the GDP as well for the pound tomorrow morning, but other than that, nothing else today. So there's your news. DAX is just stuck solid, look. So there's your 5-minute as well. So there's your pre-market. There's your 5-minute. We're an inside bar on the 5-minute at the moment. So this thing's got absolutely no legs today. It does look bearish, but I can't believe we're waiting for the PPI figures on the DAX. So I don't know quite why. We're just quiet this morning. Just no volume. Meh. So yeah, we'll just wait for that to play out. See where we go. This Euro Swiss. So just to cover the positions I've got on at the moment, pretty much as it was yesterday. Obviously, all I've done is banked a little bit off the pound US today. This Euro New Zealand, I'm not sure what's going on with this one. It's just sideways at the moment. So I've got something I can bank on it, but it's not a lot. Euro Swiss, I'm still holding out for this gap fill. I still think there's a good chance of that getting achieved. We don't leave gaps. You know, even if it takes a while and it comes down here and it mucks about, it will fill that gap at some point. So I'm holding this, hoping we get some movement off of it off the US today. But yeah, don't need much. It's within an ADR. It's achievable today. So looking for the gap fill there, holding that. CAD Swiss has gone nowhere since I got into it. Sideways now for 5 days. Aussie dollar Swiss, again, same thing with sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. Looking for propulsion gap fill on that. CAD Swiss, looking for a propulsion gap fill to the upside as well. So those have gone nowhere. The pound US dollar we know about, already covered that one, and the New Zealand dollar Swiss is the other thing that I've got on as a short. That's kind of stagnated as well. So this is where we opened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago, and this is where we are. Not going anywhere. So stuck in that one at the minute, just sitting sideways. US dollar yen, still no movement yesterday. I had an out this morning in Asia. I was asleep, so I didn't take it. We've pushed up again back into DD, not going anywhere at all. Absolutely stuck. So I'm going to hold it. I'm looking for US dollar weakness today, which is forecast. So we'll see if we get it. And oil, again, nothing since I got in. Unusual sideways movement, but we do get this sideways movement after gaps. If you go back and look at the last big gap that we had, you will see exactly the same scenario playing out. We're going to have to go back to the 4 hour. So last gap we had, which is the short play we took here. Exactly the same thing. Yeah, we sat sideways for a week and then we had a little bit of movement up, came back down again, and then we filled the gap. Yeah, so it's not unusual after a gap shock on oil to sit there sideways for a week and do absolutely nothing. And that's exactly what we're experiencing at the moment. So we'll see where we go. I'm holding the long and I'm adding if we get the gap fill done. But obviously if world economics change with regards to what's going on with the conflict, this will take off and that will become irrelevant. So it doesn't really matter about the gap if something changes in the world. So yeah, so that's it basically for my positions at the moment. Pretty good month so far, 10% banked. We're on the 11th, so on for a good 20-25% month if we can carry on this momentum. Fingers crossed. ADRs, there's nothing. Weeklies, there's nothing. Monthlies, there's nothing. It's flat at the moment. Absolutely nothing going on. I wouldn't expect any ADRs today because we've got news. Obviously, when we get the news, we'll get some ADRs if we get some movement. And the only RSI extensions we've got, same as we've had all week. Nothing on the hourlies. Absolutely dead. Market's just sideways at the moment. So we're waiting for some extensions and some movement. Pound US dollar, as we know, is extended on the 4 hour again, but we are looking for that pullback move. Potentially today is going to be either a 72 bounce play. So this is either going to be the W pattern reversal. We've made a new high, which is lovely. So market structure from this break now is officially bullish, broken the high. So we're looking for a pullback new leg. Or we just rally away today on the US dollar news. So that is a short opportunity to stay in line with the trend. If you want to stay in line with the trend, it's not very extended though, so not the best in the world. None of these are. New Zealand dollar yen extended to the upside. Good looking short opportunity. Have no problem shorting the yen. Did so last time. Absolutely fine to short that. There's another resistance coming up just up here. So again, if you want to take this one, it's just extended again, so you can drop down to 15-minute. The reverse alert happened overnight in Asia, actually. So the reverse alert and the retest is there. And US dollar Swiss, which I'm already in. No, I'm not. I'm out. I got out of US dollar Swiss yesterday. Didn't I? Of course I did. So out of the US dollar Swiss, 3 really nice, easy trades on that. Into propulsion. So we are extended on the 4 hour now to the downside, ready for a long. But anything you do today with the US dollar, if you take any new positions, just bear in mind you're taking positions ahead of 48 hours of massive news events. So If you go long on this now and the US dollar tanks its figures on the PPI today and we get CPI drop tomorrow, you can kiss this goodbye. We're going to drop a good 200-300% of ADR, aren't we? So, but it doesn't matter if you get in there, just scale in, scale out. Done. There you go. Nothing else to look at. It's just a dull day today. DAX pushing back up into the inside range. Oh, hello. There's some movement. We're hedged. No, we're not. Almost got hedged. Weird price action. This is very weird. Wow. So when you see price action unfolding like this, it just means there's no volume in the market. There's no trading, basically. So all these long wicks basically are algorithmic movements. So this is just the market dropping, buying back the positions, and just flip-flopping around. Because there's no volume, there's no direction. So at some point, one of the algorithms will take control and drive the market in one direction, and we'll get a sort of some kind of move started. But there's no speculative trading going on at the moment. There's no moves happening at all. So we'll just wait and see what happens. We'll see if we get hedged on this, and then I'll adjust the TPs if we do. In fact, I probably won't adjust the TPs today. Certainly not on the shorts. The shorts, I will probably want to hold until 5R, because that's where I expect us to go and test. So long-wise, might change the upside targets, but yeah, it's tricky today. Upside-wise, obviously, we're looking at these highs. So that's probably a decent target as well. I'll probably just leave it today and hope that we get a rally to 5R at some point before the New York Open. Obviously, we've got the news coming on the US, so there's a good chance we will rally. All the indices will rally off the US news. But at the minute, it ain't going anywhere. Morning, Day Trader FX. If I haven't said morning already, Neo, my email. Just found this channel. That's an interesting name. My email. Ultra FX. Can't get out of the opening range. No. Stuck. Totally stuck. Whippy one today. How do you know if the news is going to push the price up or down? You don't. If you knew that, you would do it, wouldn't you? Think about what you're saying. If you could know and predict the future, you would be a multi-billionaire. There we go, hedged. So just going to play this out today. So TP's automatically adjusted to 5R. And yeah, so downside, if we do rally to the downside at some point today, that's not a bad target. In fact, I'm just going to adjust that down to that low, which is yesterday's low. Because if it does rally to the downside, it makes no sense to bounce from there. It makes sense to bounce from yesterday's low or the gap fill. So just that little bit extra, it's 1R extra, about 6R to the downside. Upside, it's either going to hit that or that. And so yesterday's high is too close. It's too risky to try and get out at a 2R. Because if it rallies up to ADR, you're going to be in all sorts of trouble up there. So it's either there or there, 4R or 5R. So if it does go long, I will watch price action at these levels and may take a decision to get out. But I'll probably just leave it at 5R because that's a perfect target to the upside. It's going to be resistance. There's going to be limit order triggers up there. There's also going to be limit order triggers there. It's whether or not they have enough stop them getting up to that level. So we'll see. So hedge today, kind of due one, aren't we? We've had two really nice breaks on the DAX, so we're due a hedge. Morning, please check GU on lower time frame. There you go. Anything else? Going up. John, DAX very wicky on the downside. Feels like a buy. Yeah, does feel like a buy. Well, doesn't feel like anything really, does it, at the moment? It feels to me like a rotation at the moment. It's not giving us any clues, is it, really, today? So we'll just hang around and wait. Franco, had a horrific day working on my computers, but still managed a few good trades. How do you have a horrific day working on computers? I've got nothing else to say today. Literally lost for words. There's nothing going on. So there's nothing really to analyze. There's nothing to look at. This thing is slow as hell. So if it takes off, brilliant. I'll update in Telegram. If it doesn't take off, I'll be hedged and we'll come back to a loss this afternoon. But yeah, we'll trade the others this afternoon after the market opens. So just be aware, today's a news day. So with the stock index hedge strategy specifically, the days which have always produced the largest losses have been news days, when we've got news that drives the market way beyond ADR. So just be careful. Programming conflicts, well, that's a a mess. I know your pain. So yeah, just we may have a lot of volatility off of PPI. We may have absolutely nothing. So if we get absolutely nothing, we'll probably have a good open on the US indices. If we've had a massive volatile move and we've done sort of an ADR or so on the indices and the US dollar, we may well have a very, very quiet open. So we'll play it by ear this afternoon. We'll have a look at the US indices and what's happened at 1:30. So far, the Globex session, as you can see, is very, 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 very tight. Yeah, so there's no volume gone into the market in Globex at all so far this morning. And as we can see, there's just no volume coming into the DAX either. So the market's sitting waiting. We've got CPI tomorrow. So they're not going to want to dump too much into the stock market until we know what the inflation figure is going to be, because the inflation figure is likely to change the outlook on the US, which is likely to move it hard, which means your stocks are going to be different prices. So you don't want to be getting involved in any large purchases before CPI. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's not a lot else really to report today. I shall just be sitting on my open positions, waiting. Oil's rallying. So we've got a little bit of movement on oil this morning, which is good. Nice small swaps on oil as well. Positive swaps on the CAD Swiss as well, which is even better. But yeah, oil's moving up. US dollar looks like it's opening fairly weak this morning. So not massively. Coming down against the yen. Just nothing happening. So it's dead. Anybody got any other pairs they want to look at or anything else they want to discuss? Have a great day all. Protect the bankroll. Words of wisdom. DAX is moving, Harold. Yep, we're off. Everything's off to the upside. It's moving. I wouldn't say it's moving particularly fast. It's like watching a snail, isn't it? Like you watch it for ages and it does absolutely nothing. Then you look away and do something else. You come back and the snail's moved from there to there. But when you look at it, it doesn't actually move. So the propulsion move that we had from that accumulation break that they added into shorts seems like they're adding into shorts again. So not a lot going on, is there? Morning, Evans. So the new video, basically, I have uploaded even. Where am I going? There. So it's saying at the minute I've got 80 minutes until it's rendered. So this is the stock index hedge strategy and the EA instruction video. It's an hour and 20 or something. Where's that? Oh, 1 hour 20, yeah. So that'll be ready today in about an hour and a bit. So as soon as that's finished rendering in high definition, I will press the button and put that out in the Telegram channel and everywhere else. I'll see if I can put some links in to things during the video, and I will probably put some chapters in because there's lots of different parts of that video. So I'm going to spend the morning chaptering it. So it's easy to find stuff because half the video is about the strategy, half the video is about the stock index hedge EA and all the settings and inputs and logic. And then there's a bit on the end about just looking at ways to manually trade it as well. So I will put some chapters in so you can skip to the bits that are interesting. And then I'll put it up on the website as well. So it's the slowest 20 minutes of bullish price action in the universe so far. So we've had nothing but bull movement, nothing but buys, and we've managed to do just about 10% of its average daily range in 20 minutes. Sorry. Morning, Rajiv. Yeah, don't expect anything much today. Euro Swiss is moving as well, which is good. So Euro Swiss is just trying to break out the Asian highs. So hopefully we get that one done today and pop that one down there. Yeah. Morning. Can I trade your strategy on France 40? You can, yeah. You can trade anything on anything. I don't trade the France 40, but I don't even know if I got the France 40. Where the hell? Oh, there you go. No, I haven't got it. But yeah, but there's not much point in trading the France 40 because the France 40 is basically the DAX. Well, it's not the DAX, but if you compare the two next to each other, you'll find there's very similar movement. The DAX is the largest index in Europe. So that's why we trade it, because it's got the most volume. Not that you would know that this morning, obviously, because there isn't any this morning. But the France 40 is kind of like the lower sibling to the DAX in the way that the FTSE is the lower sibling to the DAX as well. So you can trade any index with it, basically. With the opening range breakout strategy or the stock index hedge strategy, you can trade any index. But you're better off trading the higher volume, faster moving indexes, which this normally is on a normal day, but today it's just not interested. So but yeah, test it, back test it. So test different settings. The nice thing about this EA is that because it works on ADR and the whole concept is around getting a range that is within an ADR distance that you can easily make money out of, there's not too much you really need to tweak from index to index. The trailing stops from index to index is going to be random. So, changing these is only going to show you what would have happened in history. Every day is going to be different. So these really won't make a lot of difference. The TP multipliers are the main thing that you want to look at optimization of on individual indexes, because you'll find a lot of indexes, although they all have an average daily range, some get to their ranges in a very wild, whippy way. Others drive to them. Yeah. So the TPs, it's the speed of getting there that is the thing that the TPs will affect, because some indexes will take all day to get to their average daily ranges. Others will hit them very, very quick. And obviously it depends on news and all sorts of other stuff, but there's not a lot to optimize in here, really isn't. The ranges you can play around with, but I have done a lot of analysis on these ranges, and that is what I've come out as the profitable way to trade it because of the risk reward. If you go above 20% of the average daily range when the range is formed, you're going to find it hard to hit a target with a positive risk reward ratio. So the lower one you can play around with, the upper one you can play around with a bit, but I wouldn't increase it. I would reduce it if you're going to do anything. The look back hardly makes any difference. I've tested that. Other than that, the only real thing that makes a massive difference to profitability is the hedge recovery, and that is only going to affect around about a third of your, half your trades, because half the time you're going to get clean breaks anyway. So that's what's going to make the difference between massive losses or not massive losses, rather than losses. Losses are going to be there. There's nothing you can do about them, but it's the size of the loss that affects the size of the loss. So that and your TPs are the things that you want to concentrate on system parameter permutations and optimization for different indexes. But I haven't tested anything much else because I don't have them, like the France 40, the Japanese index. There's other bits and pieces out there, but play around, see what you find. People are already posting set files for it, which look pretty good. I haven't done masses of testing, to be honest, because I've kind of rushed it out there a little bit because people wanted it, but I've got a lot more work to do on testing. But all the parameter permutation tests I've done are profitable. 75% of them are profitable, which is way higher than I normally look for. 60% is what I look for. I got 75%. So I'm more than happy with the performance of it long term and the edge. And all the settings are different versions of something that works. So you just pick one and go with it. Rajiv, I was thinking CAD Swiss, totally left field. What? You were thinking CAD Swiss. Just joined, so may have missed if you've already done it. I only covered it because I'm in it. But yeah. I don't know. It's not going anywhere. So I'm long on it from the H1 RSI extension. So that's an H1 M5 mean reversion entry. But it's not gone anywhere. Even the news didn't do anything. Look, totally flatlined. Totally flatlined. Weird. It's a very weird price action, that. So yeah, it's gone into a state of, like, it's almost as if it's just gone into a coma. Weird. But that's the 38. It's a bit more than 38 retracement on that leg. We were looking for the bounce off the highs, which we got. So yeah, I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback, possibly before a new leg down, or expecting that to be a pullback on an up leg. But it's just gone dead. So it kind of, the trade is invalidated now. So should really get out. If you're a sensible trader, you would get out of that now and just go, screw that. I'll just take that 0.07% loss because it's not working. It's not a valid trade, is it? But every trade is still a valid trade when you look at it in the long term. It's still a valid long. And if this is a short, it's still a valid pullback short. So either way, the trade is still valid long. Whatever it decides to do, it's still a valid long. Everything's always a valid long and a valid short, isn't it? Everybody's always got, there's always two things that can happen. When you're looking at market structure, you're either going to be looking at it continuing or you're going to be looking at it not continuing. Either way, there's always a long and a short on every single instrument every time you look at it. Everybody can look at a chart and everybody will have a different opinion on it, long or short. That's why the market works, because if there's not people that have got differing opinions, it won't move anywhere. So it will go one way or the other, and that's the beauty of position trading. And if it doesn't go up from here and it comes down, that's no problem. We'll just get in again and we'll get out when it does go up. Just got to wait. But at the moment, it's not going anywhere. So we're stuck. But yeah. Pound US dollar as well this morning. We're very, very stuck. If you look at this on the lower time frames, we're really, really stuck this morning. Everything's just stuck. I think we're waiting for PPI, or we're waiting for FOMC stroke CPI. So it may not even be PPI that we're waiting for. It might be that we're waiting for these two before they start putting some volume in. So it might be a bit of a boring day today. Certainly is on the DAX so far. Well, it's not really. I mean, if you went long, you're having a lovely time, but not exactly setting the world on fire for speed records, is it, today? You look at yesterday, we were out with 2R in 15 minutes. You look at the previous day, whoops, there, we were out with 2R in 20 minutes. Look at today, you've just about done 1R in half an hour. So difference in volume is easy to spot today, isn't it? But we'll see. So there you go. I will be back this afternoon. I've got nothing else to cover this morning because literally there is nothing to look at. It's all flat. It's all dead. So this afternoon, obviously 1:30, be prepared for PPI. It may or may not move. If you've got any risk on the US dollar, anything that's in profit on the US, you may want to bank or protect it, as I've done with the pound US this morning. I'm out of this because of PPI. I'm worried about a drop. If a drop happens, i.e. we get a rally on the US, that's in the bank. They can't touch that, and I can add again to get back out again. So with the other instruments, other currencies, they will probably get some movement off of PPI if it does move. But if you've got anything US that is in profit, it's worth banking it because you can't get it back if it drops. So if you've got longs on the pound US dollar and you've got a load of profit, as I had this morning, and this comes back down to here, you lose that profit. If you bank that profit and it comes down to here, you have an opportunity to add it back on. If you bank that profit and it rallies your direction, fantastic. Everything's going your way. Win-win. Yeah. So banking profit is always a win-win. Not banking it or protecting it with a break even is always a bad idea. So bank it if you've got it, unless you're feeling super, super brave, like US dollar yen, for example. I've got one position in profit on that. Yeah. I can't even see it. Oh, I'm on a 15-minute chart. Weird. So I've got one position in profit on that there. Yeah. So my options are break even and potentially not make any money, or I can bank that right now. Average will move down to there, and if the US dollar drops, everything else goes into profit, doesn't it? So there's no reason not to bank, really. So I will be banking that, and what I might do is trail it. I'll wait and see where price goes today. If we're back down here, I will probably just stick a tight trailer on it, and then if the news goes, I go with it. If the news comes back, I get out of one and I can add that back on, can't I? So, but this US dollar yen's not got any directional bias either yet at the moment. So, how much do you personally risk? I would always say risk 0.5%, 1% per trade if you're using a stop loss. But yeah, on the stock index hedge EA, I risk around about 500 to 700 per trade, 2 trades per entry. But it will be relational to the size of your account or the size of your balls, one or the other. People with the bigger balls are the ones that tend to have the most drawdown on their accounts, but then again, they're the ones that tend to make the most money. There's no right or wrong, just risk. Right, I'll leave it there. Anything else you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram. I'll post when the video's out this morning. That's it, really, for today. So just watch out for the news. I'll come back this afternoon at 2:20. We'll look at the New York session. We'll trade the US indices. We'll see what's happened with PPI, see if anything else is unfolding in Israel. Big Les, my ex-wife has mine. Your big balls? I don't quite know how to take that one. So on that note, I'll leave it there. So yeah, I'll be back this afternoon, 2:20. If you're not here this afternoon, tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time, we'll look at the Frankfurt again. But hopefully we get some movement this afternoon. So good luck, and I will see you guys 2:20 this afternoon. Have a good day.